there's something that all of us are losing that is critical to our resilience, our ability to live meaningful lives, our ability to be strong, not only physically, but mentally. And it is only getting worse with AI and new technologies that are removing all friction from our lives, like making our lives like the most convenient it could possibly be. And that is our access and our connection to and our utilization of our self-intelligence. Some people might call this intuition, some people might call it your gut. Whatever we are speaking to, whatever you want to call it, is the innate knowledge of what is right for you, the innate understanding of what the best decision is. And one thing we struggle with in modern society is the right decision. Everybody like waffles on, is this the right path? Is this the right path? Especially when you've got endless options, seemingly. And when you see that much more of people's lives across social media, across various representation in the media, whether it's social or not, you get the sense that you're not doing, quote, quote, the right thing, right? But the right thing for us has to be uniquely tailored to us. It cannot be based on anything else, whether it's societal definitions, family culture, what you see out in the world, what the world tells us it should be, even the people we respect and admire. It has to be tailored to our own understanding of what we need and what matters to us. So science is valuable for endless reasons. And I have I am not a science data at all. However, one thing that I feel deeply is that we have over relied on science to tell us things that we already know about ourselves. For example, happiness studies. Like the Harvard Happiness Study is a good example because it's the longest standing one. People see it as a reliable source. It's been running for what? Almost a century? I think like 90 years. And the things that it tells us, which is replicated in so many other research studies, or the results are replicated in so many other research studies around happiness and satisfaction and living a good, meaningful life, is what you need are healthy connections, human social connections, relationships, people in your life that you can go to, things that make you feel like life is meaningful, having a purpose. And it doesn't mean it isn't what we talk about in our more like current modern vernacular around it being your life's calling. It just means feeling like your life is meaningful, that what you're doing with your time is of value, that you're not wasting your time, that you get outside in nature, move your body, be with the natural environment, which we are actually a part of. We are still animals at the end of the day. Being with the natural environment, in it, moving our bodies. Hobbies, passions, interests, things that we enjoy doing, and actually spending time doing them, not just having them and saying we're interested in X, but actually engaging with it, doing the activity, learning about it, improving your skills, engaging with others who enjoy it. Right? And then of course there's being healthy, like the food the food you eat, the like sleep patterns, all of those things, right? Like basic physical health. Like this is not the entire list, but they're basic things. They're things that we understand about life and living. It's been known for centuries. I mean, sorry, not even centuries, millennia, since humans have been around. And if anything, we've gotten so far away from it that now we need studies to tell us what makes a happy life. That's on like a massive human level. But let's take the individual. How often do we seek advice, counsel from even people we trust, friends, family, mentors, about things that are entirely unique to us? And granted, how we ask for advice matters, so I don't mean to say that all input and advice is bad. But so often it's like, what should I do? But it's like, well, do they know the person that you're asking? Can you trust their guidance? Not only because you admire their life, but because they actually understand what matters to you? Have they asked questions about the context, about the circumstances, about what ultimately you're trying to achieve, what your considerations are? again, what your priorities are, what matters to you. Because if they don't understand those things, them giving you any guidance on what you should do is not based on you. And yet we seek guidance all over the place from not only the people in our lives, but strangers on the internet. People that become influencers with massive followings, let's say for one thing, right? For travel, for skincare, for makeup, for building a business, making money. And then they expand into like giving general broad advice around so many other things in life. But do you know about the other aspects of their life? Can you trust them on those other aspects of general living? Do you actually think that their life experience matches yours? And if it does, cool. But what I'm talking about is the discernment of how we are taking in information about what is good and bad for us. Or, for example, when you're making a major choice around a relationship, do you stay in it? Do you leave? A job, do you quit or do you find something else? Do you move to another city? Do you prioritize making money right now or do you prioritize your family? Like these major decisions are entirely rooted in you and what matters to you and what is right for you. And a major misalignment that I see in our current kind of approach to living is the amount of time we spend going outside of ourselves for the information that is directly like related to what is inside of ourselves versus spending time with ourselves, exploring the inner parts of ourselves that actually give us this information. So whether you call it gut, whether you call it intuition, whether you call it self-intelligence, it is the inner knowledge you already have about what is good for you. And it is like any other muscle, something we have to practice, something we have to strengthen so that we can be strong at it, so that we can be good at it. And it requires us investigating the things that matter to us and aligning our action to that. It requires some experimentation because if you haven't attuned to what is important to you, what is meaningful to you, what a good life entails for you, what you currently need, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, then it's really hard to get any advice outside of yourself and know how best to apply it to you. You can run experiments. You can say, what should I do about X? Someone should say, you should do A. You can run the experiment and go do A, but you'll have a far more sustainable outcome if you first understand when you are asking, what do I do about X? That you also consider, well, what matters to you about X? What happens if you do X? Does that affect something in your life, other things in your life that matter to you more? What are the constraints that surround this decision? What is the impact of this decision? How does that weigh against the other things in your life that matter to you? Because any decision is not in a vacuum. We might think our career sits here, or our family sits here, or making money sits here, or our hobbies sit here. But any decision we make across all of these, any of these will affect all of them. Because any decision we make requires time, requires effort and energy, resources. And if you're going to put effort, energy, time, resources into something, it's going to take it away from other things. And so the self-intelligence, the intuition, the gut, you have to train it. You have to hone it. You have to tap into it and tune into it often enough such that you can calibrate your decision-making to it, such that you can say, oh, I think I want this. Then you go test it. And then you can be like, okay, that worked, or that didn't work, or part of it worked, these other parts didn't work. How do I tune in? Because you have to learn to trust your self-intelligence, just in the same way that you learn to trust research studies telling you that happiness equals X, or some influencer that has a podcast that tells you you should eat X, Y, and Z, right? Like trust is built, and we're getting away from trusting ourselves, which is the first person we have to trust. And in a world that is constantly pushing us towards all kinds of technologies, all kinds of solutions, all kinds of hacks for life, for our health, for our relationships, it takes us away from the most important work, which is understanding ourselves, building the relationship with ourselves, trusting and loving ourselves so that we can go out and be more attuned to other people, more connected in our relationships, more like healthy to do the activities you want to do, the movement we want to engage in, whether it's physical activities or just getting your exercise, feeling healthy, whether it's engaging with the world in the way that we want, right? Making choices that put us in positions to get the things that we want. And ultimately, so we can be better contributors to society. Because if we feel stronger in ourselves, we trust ourselves, we're not constantly going outside of ourselves to get what we need. And currently, most of us don't trust ourselves. Most of us don't think that we know not only what we should do, but what we even want. And so we seek information in books, in podcasts, on YouTube, from other people, from the people around us, from our friends. But these people know no better than you about your life. You're the only person that has the full body of information about your life. But if you're not spending time understanding that information, breaking down that information, making sense of that information so that you can make sound decisions aligned to what you care about, then it won't matter how much you consume outside of yourself. You still have to take it in and match it with this person, with this brain, with this heart, with this body. And that starts with from little decisions to big ones. Trying to tune in with yourself, asking yourself what matters to you, asking yourself what is important here, considering what is the life you're trying to live? What are the relationships you're trying to have? How do you want to spend your time? How do you want to engage the world? Understanding that foundation so that whether you're deciding, okay, do I have these extra calories today? Or do I take this trip? Or should I buy this thing? Do I have the budget to invest in this thing? Should I prioritize my family today? Or do I prioritize work today? Micro to macro decisions will all come from this foundation. And if your foundation is not sound, if you don't understand yourself and trust yourself and your own intelligence, it'll feel scattered. And that's when you start seeking outside of yourself for information that already exists within yourself. Things that have been with you probably for a very long time. And if you tune into it, if you practice every single day, checking in with yourself about what matters, about what you need, what your body needs, what your brain needs, what your heart needs, you can start to make decisions from that place. You can start to attune your actions to those priorities. And you will seek outside of yourself for the information about yourself less. And maybe then we will be less kind of oriented around ourselves. Because right now we are so self-obsessed. And the things that we're self-obsessed about are real challenges. They're real concerns. But so much of the information, the wisdom already sits within us. But because we seek outside, and outside there's endless information, it can feel so overwhelming to the point where you feel like you don't know how to live. But if you tune out that noise and tune back in to the intelligence that's already here, you will start to make decisions. You will start to take actions that feel intuitive, that feel aligned to you, that feel like they become second nature, so that you won't be so obsessed about all the things that aren't aligned in your life, that aren't going well. Because you'll start to trust yourself to know what it is that you need. What is the right solution here? How do I solve the current problem? And it doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means that you trust yourself to figure it out. And the less you look outside of yourself for this information, the more you will be able to focus on stuff outside of yourself, because you won't need so much cognitive analytical power to think about something that is innate, because you will start to do it so naturally. You won't second guess yourself as much. And once you tune in to yourself, you'll be able to tune into other people better. You'll be able to tune into your world better, because you're not trapped in this little space inside your head and solely the circumstances that affect you. You'll be more grounded. You'll be more attuned. You'll be more at peace. And when we are there, we're able to contribute more to the world. We're able to contribute more to others. And I don't mean in some massive grand way to solve like world hunger. I mean, we'll just pay attention more to the world around us, because we're not so obsessed with what's happening with ourselves, because there's so many problems we're trying to solve. We'll be able to tune into what's happening around us in the world. We'll be able to see someone who might need help crossing the street. Might be able to see someone whose door we can open for them. Might be able to see someone who, needs a couple bucks and we've got it to spare. We'll be able to contribute to our communities more. And as a result, we will feel more connected to the world. We will feel that life is more meaningful. Because coming full circle, one of the most important things in meaningful life are our relationships, is our sense of connection to the world around us. And that's something we've known for eons. So let's tune back in to the wisdom that we already have, what we already know about being human over a millennia, and tune back into those things that matter, and cut out the noise of the things that really just don't. And that starts with tuning into yourself. So check in every day. Consider what matters. Consider, are you making choices to get you the things that matter to you? That invest in the things that matter to you? Are you making choices based on yourself? Or are you making choices based on the world around you and other people? Do you understand your foundation of your priorities, of your principles, of what a meaningful life means to you, so that your actions and your decisions all align to that foundation? And as you start to do that practice, you'll start to feel far more settled in the person that you are. You will learn to trust this person so that you can stop seeking outside of yourself.